You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Tammy Summers is suing casting agent Dave Harper in the amount of $5,000. She alleges that photos given to the defendant found their way onto adult websites.
Ms. Summers is suing you, Mr. Harper, for the use of her image and likeness without her permission. I understand that she took some photos. Well, I'll let her explain. What happened?
Your Honor, 8 months ago, Mr. Harper over here, he posted, his website on, his business on a website, and so I ended up finding it, and it seemed legitimate. They offered 2 free headshots.
Why are you getting headshots?
For my acting.
And what was the nature of his business?
He's a photographer.
So you went there and got some headshots?
I did, and I started booking jobs after. A few months later, a friend calls me up and says, your pictures have been posted on this website. Somebody stole my identity. And I felt appalled because, all this content was, sexually explicit.
So your picture was posted on a website that had sexually explicit content?
The postings were sexually explicit.
Oh.
Yes.
But was your picture on that website?
My picture was on that website.
And you went to the website and you observed that?
I observed that.
And those were pictures that you had taken at his studio?
Yes, all of them were from his studio.
But you don't know how I got to this other site?
I'm assuming it was Mr. Harper that posted it, since he's the one that took the photos. He was the only person that had them.
She's trying to claim that that I was the one that did it, first of all, that I posted these on some other website, which is not correct. I did investigate and look into it because I was concerned. And I have proof. I have great ratings. I've been a businessman for 10 years, so I've never had any problems at all. And so what happened is I looked into it. I did find out that my webmaster did post these photos on another site. And, Your Honor, I was going to terminate the employee.
What happened?
She quit already.
And coming up,
to the table, and Julia knocked her wine glass over, and it ruined my phone.
The wine tipping over is an accident. Things happen.
Well, are you going to pay for that phone?
you're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Tammy Summers, who is suing Dave Harper for defamation of character.
Didn't you post them on Mr. Harper's website?
I didn't post them. He posted them.
Right, he posted them on his website, right?
Yes.
And by him posting them on his website, some other people found you on his website.
Right.
Which got you jobs, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Which means that other people are going to his website and picking up your photo and using it to get you jobs, and probably maybe putting it on their website or doing something else with it, right?
Your Honor, you are correct.
Okay, so now your pictures happen to show up on this pornographic type website or some sexually explicit website that you don't like.
It's not a sexually explicit site. It's more of like a dating site, but there were postings that were sexually explicit, and it was mortifying.
Okay, so tell me this, where is your proof? Because your allegation is that he allowed someone else to steal your image and likeness from his website and post it onto this other website.
Yeah.
That's your allegation. Where is your proof that it's his fault?
I only allowed him to post those pictures on his site, nowhere else.
Okay, let me hear from him. What about you, Mr. Harper? What do you have to say?
It is not my fault. In a company, it's like if an employee does something, the company is not responsible for those employees doing something.
Who says? Are you telling me the law?
Well, no,
so
ma'am.
if you know it better than I do, why am I sitting here? Are you saying that's the law, that a company is not responsible for the actions of its employees?
I'm just saying that not every company can be held accountable for everything that employees do on computers.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
You have to establish not only that the pictures were there on another website that came from him, but you have to establish that he knew, you have to establish that he was negligent and didn't stop anyone from doing it, that he participated and it was because of that harm. When employees do things that the employer does not know, they have to have a reasonable opportunity to correct it. Once he found out, he took the measures to try to correct it. He was going to terminate the employee, he could. But it seems to me that what you would want now is for those pictures to come down off his site, since that site has been compromised, obviously, and just give them over to her and let her post them somewhere else.
Yeah, I can do
That's
that.
my order. So
Okay.
give them the pictures.
Judge Mablean has ruled the defendant must remove the plaintiff's photos from his website.
I'm really sorry this happened, and I am going to take all precautions to make sure this does not happen in the future to anyone.
Okay, I accept your apology, and I'm just mortified that this whole thing happened. You know, I still feel terrible about the whole thing.
Heather King is suing Julia Thomas in the amount of $2,300. Ms. King claims Ms. Thomas pressured her to put her cell phone in a phone stack during their dinner, which led to a broken phone and a lost job. Ms. Thomas claims she was just trying to have a peaceful dinner with Ms. King and is not responsible for the accident or the plaintiff getting fired.
In the matter of Heather King versus Julia Thomas, Ms. King is suing Miss Thomas for $2,300 for wage loss and damage to one of those wonderful little creatures called a smartphone. Tell me about it. In a phone stack case, tell me.
So, Your Honor, Julia and I have been friends for a long time. My name is Heather King. Julia and I have been friends for a long time, since undergrad, and we went to dinner recently, and she has this thing called a phone stack where we have to stack our phones in the center of the table during our meal so that we can connect with one another. This is something that she likes to do, and but for me, it is difficult because of the job that I had at the time, which was very, very stressful and required me to be available to my phone at all times for my boss. And so the night that we had dinner, she asked me to place my phone in the center of the table, and I did not want to. I let her know that I was expecting a call from my boss. It was very, very important. I had to pick an important client up from the airport, and she and our 4 other friends just kept pressuring me and kept pressuring me. So finally, I put the phone in the center of the table. We started to have a lovely meal. It was Chinese food, family style. The food came to the table, and Julia knocked her wine glass over, and it ruined my phone. It totally shut my phone off. It wouldn't come back on. I had to go to 2 different phone stores to try to find a new phone, which she did not offer to pay for, to replace, knowing that it was very important to me for my job. By the time that I got my phone handled and got a new phone, my boss called. She was very upset. The client came to the airport early. I missed it. I lost my job, and my mind, all of my everything was lost in that phone. And so today I am suing her for damages to my phone, and also for the weeks that I was without work because I had to go search for a job, and now I'm a waitress.
Well, how many weeks were you without work?
3 weeks.
And what kind of work did you do before?
Before that, I was a fashion assistant to a very prominent fashion designer in Los Angeles, and I loved my job. It was my dream job. And unfortunately, that night, everything ended for me.
And how much did the phone cost?
The phone cost $500, Your Honor.
Coming up,
The wine,
Your idea to phone stack, right?
right.
Your insistence to phone stack.
Well,
Based upon what I read in the pre-case, you're the leader of this pack. And everybody follows your lead.
I am the one who organized the dinner, but all of our other friends were saying that Heather should finally put her phone down and pay attention to the people she was with. Since she wasn't going to have to report to her boss for several hours, she should have some time to herself. The wine tipping over is an accident. Things happen. When you're putting your phone in the center of a table, you know there's food, there's drink, anything could happen.
But you know that, and it's your rule to put it in the center of the table.
Right.
You have an accident, damage her phone. She doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a job, and you think it's just an accident.
Right.
Because she should have had it on the top.
Because things happen.
So if you had damaged Mary's phone or Susie's phone or any of the other person's phone that had been on top, you would have had the same feeling?
No, because I think they're all reasonable people, and we wouldn't be in the courtroom right now because they would have known that things happen to phones, they would have had a warranty on it, or they would have sucked up the cost and realized that it was their mistake to not insure something so important to them.
Well, I'm going to let you suck up this cost. It's your mistake not to spill wine. It's your mistake not to be careful, since you do things so perfectly all the time and hold your glass in a manner such that you don't spill it on the phone because you know all those phones are there.
I should not be responsible for 3 weeks of her pay.
Well, maybe you think that you shouldn't be, but I disagree.
For 3 weeks of her pay?
Well, you're going to pay for that phone.
Judge Mablean
That was an accident. accident. And when things are an accident, sometimes you have to pay for it.
Well,
if I have an accident and break something at someone's house, usually I'll replace it. That's what most reasonable people do. If I break your glass, I'm going to replace it.
Your Honor, we tried to remedy the situation. I offered to drive her to get to the new store to get a phone.
That means she got to pay for a new phone. That doesn't change that.
Well, we also told her that she could either check her voicemail from our phones or if she could send her boss an email from our phone.
Okay, here's what you are. You want things done your way. You want to be in total control of how things should go and what people should or should not do. You're playing God that she shouldn't be on the boss. And now, I hate people talking on the phone when we're having dinner too. I really do. But you also have a choice. Don't eat with them.
That she could have not eaten with me.
Yeah, but you have a choice too. I hate that. I get that. I think it's rude. I think it's inconsiderate. But this woman had a particular incident. I think she could have kept her phone and left it on vibrate and then stepped out of the room when she received the phone call. But in compliance with her friends, you got to learn not to take the pressure of friends, she did that. You had the accident and spilled it and caused the damage to her phone. You pay for that.
But I'm not paying for 3 weeks that she went.
Oh, you know what? I wasn't going to order you to do it, but now that you're telling me what you're not going to do, yes, you are. Pay that too. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,300.
I'm sorry it had to come to this, but you knew what that job meant to me.
I'm glad you lost your job. You didn't have a life, and now you'll have one, but I won't be in it.